So good evening everyone. Welcome to this weekly interactive session and this is week number 7. So this is the course on Introduction to Multimodal Urban Transportation Systems and the instructor is Dr. Arpopal Goswami from IIT Kharagpur and myself Suman Ganguly. I am a PhD research scholar at IIT Kharagpur. So good evening. So as we usually do here, I have developed some 10 questions. There are some numericals and some are theoretical questions. So first is you will try to answer as we normally do. You will attempt and then I will solve it if it is numerical, and if it is not numerical then I will try to explain what is the right answer and why is the right answer, right? So let's start today. So first question is what is the best pedestrian level of service for judging the performance of a pedestrian facility, right? So it is very straightforward. So is it quantitative, is it qualitative, is it both, or the none of this? So let me first give you a brief recap of the previous week. So previous week what we have done, we have calculated kind of quantitative level of service in case of a pedestrian facility based on Indian Highway Capacity Manual. If you remember what we did, we just calculate our what is the effective width by what is the existing width, then what is the side distance, and based on the flow rate we calculate our, or from the table of NDOICM we calculate our level of service. So now the question is, what is the best pedestrian level of service for this week course? If you have watched the course, you would have already known that there is also a qualitative level of service, right? So what is the best pedestrian level of service for judging the performance of a pedestrian facility? So as you rightly answered, it is both quantitative as well as qualitative. The reason being, any one if you take, it may not be a correct representation, right? If you take only quantitative, then it is actually depicting the density of that particular sidewalk, say, right? So but it may not actually said anything about the quality of the facility, that is based on the user perception. So how users of a particular facility, like myself a user, when I am traveling or I am walking around that sidewalk, along that sidewalk, what is my experience? So am I liking it or not based on different facilities? So that also you should take into account. But because of the methodological problem, because if you want to measure a quality, if I ask you and if I myself give you answer, so that may not be equal, and also even if we understood the same thing, that is also a question to ask, because maybe I am narrating you something, you are understanding something else, right? So I will not discuss anything more, since this is very straightforward. So the answer will be what? C. So this is what qualitative means: the physical characteristics as well as the user characteristics, right? The surface width and the surface smoothness, then the comfort, environment, security, those things. So now the second is, this is a numerical, but it is also a very straightforward numerical. So there is a footpath of width 2 meter in a residential area, which is already an existing footpath and which you need to redesign, right? So now you have a perception survey or questionnaire survey, right? So you have done this questionnaire survey and you got importance satisfaction ratings, right? So based on that you need to calculate what is the walkability index. So here what I have missed is that there is no values are given, right? So you won't be able to calculate. So maybe I will find the value and give it here. So just wait a second, I will give you the values because values are here only. This copy and discard. So this is these are the values, right? So let it be like that for now at least, and go to the sharing mode and share the tab once again. This is the tab. I think now it is visible to you again. So what is the walkability index, right? So how to calculate it? Walkability index, and then you need the quality of service, right? Sorry, you need the quality of service. First you need to calculate the walkability index and then corresponding quality of service. So without wasting too much of time, as it is very straightforward, as we know that it is just an summation of AI into PI. Here I may be equal to 1 to n as the n number of observations or n number of data if we have, right? So suppose you have this mean importance and you have this mean satisfactions, right? So these are the mean score because this is from the questionnaire. What you have the mean score of the each attribute. So there are 10 attributes, so you have the mean. So here you can take mode also as well as the simple average, right? So now you just sum it up, a1 into b1, just you multiply here and then in sum it up. So what is your WI is 89.35, which is the answer is D, right? And your quality of service from this is the level of service A, level of service, quality of service B, and quality of service C, right? So I think it is very straightforward. So maybe I will go to the next one. I think you have also understood, right? It is nothing but if you have given someone would have given you the mean importance satisfaction score, then you just multiply it and then just add them up, right? And from the table you will get what is the quality of service. So basically this is based on Indian Highway Capacity Manual that is developed in 2017-18. Yes, simple to solve. So now the third question is, segment of an pedestrian facility is defined as link of this facility plus the upstream intersection. Is it true or false? So you know what is a segment of an, suppose you have this sidewalk, right? A sidewalk. Then okay, I got one response. I want everyone to respond it, right? Okay. So actually let me say that suppose this is the intersection area and this is the link. Suppose this is another intersection. So then this is what is called the link. And what I have said, segment of a pedestrian facility is defined as the link of that facility plus the upstream intersection, right? So this is the upstream intersection. So is it, if your walking direction is this, so this is the upstream intersection. So is it called segment? No, it is not called segment. That's why this question I have designed like this. So actually you need to add them, this link plus this intersection, not the upstream. It is the downstream intersection of that particular facility. It is not an upstream intersection, right? So you just need to keep in mind. I think I got both answer is true, but it is not true. It is actually false, right? You all agree, right? Got confused. Okay. So you confused in upstream and downstream, right? I believe. I believe you confused in upstream and downstream. Yes. So suppose you have a facility like this. So you will have a link and then intersections here. Suppose if you have this facility and these are the intersections. Suppose it's a continuous facility, right? You could have like this, these are the junctions. So now this is a link 1, right? I think you agree. This is link 2 and this is link 3. Do you agree? Link is okay. Link is between two intersections. What is the mid block? What is in the road? We say that that's a mid block. That is called a link here. Right? Excluding the intersection, what is the straight area? That is called a link. So it's a link. Now suppose you are walking from this to this. This is your walking direction. You are walking like this. So suppose we are saying that segment of a pedestrian facility. So what could be a segment? So segment is, if that's a link, so that intersection you need to take whenever you are saying that's a segment in case of pedestrian facility. So because this is the link and it is in the downstream direction. Up. What is downstream? Downstream means down, not up. Where suppose I am standing here, so this is my upstream direction and this is my downstream direction. Up means what I left already, that is the up direction, and this is the down direction. So you need to take the downstream intersection whenever you are saying it's a segment, otherwise you will end up doing mistakes. So that's how it is defined in the code. You can argue that I can take upstream, but no, this is like an link and then the downstream intersection, not upstream. I hope it is clear, or if it is not, then ask me what is not clear. Clear. Then I think it's okay. So as per HCM, that is Highway Capacity Manual 2010, the pedestrian level of service of a facility is determined using pedestrian level of service score, that is the perceived pedestrian level of service score using Landis method, right? Because 2010 only described the Landis method according to the US manual, right? This is HCM 2010 means United States to HCM 2010. And then based on another factor which is called PLOS average space, that is the PLOS calculated using the flow characteristics of pedestrian and traffic flow. So just remember before you can attempt to answer. So this is a link, this is a link, this is an intersection. If you add them up, you will get a segment S, and then it is called a facility. So facility is adding up of segments. So if there are 4 segments, if you add them up, then it's become a facility. So now you tell me, according to HCM 2010, if the PLOS of a facility, is it determined by both PLOS score as well as PLOS average space or not, or maybe one factor, or maybe using something else? Tell me. That is the question. I think now it is somewhat clear to you what is a facility. If you remember, a facility we broke down into link intersections, and then if you add them up, it's a facility. Multiple segments I am saying, then that's a facility. Link, intersection, a segment and a facility. There are 4 basically part of this total procedure that is given in HCM 2010. Now you think and try to answer. No, if you remember how to calculate the facility of a link, you remember link is depend, that's complicated formulas are given, right? For a intersection, if you remember, uh, if for a link, that complicated formulas which consisting of what is like this, that if that is the intersection, and then what is the traffic flow from here, what is the traffic flow from here, then what is the, if channelization is available, then what is the number of lanes. Those things actually comes under calculation of a intersection delay as well as link delay. So I want another, I want mm, all of you first try to answer. I received one response for this. Hmm. So and that's how you calculate the link and the intersection, and then you calculate for a facility, right? So just I will try to recap it. I will not go into the formulas, because formulas, first of all, they are based on their US guidelines, and also they are not kind of numerically proved formulas, they are kind of empirical formulas. So you may not want to remember it, but you maybe if you see the formulas, you will get the logic at least. So now for a particular intersection, we can calculate PLOS score using the Landis method by considering that complete formula, right? And then for a particular link, you can use that same formula, plus you need to see what is the pedestrian space for a particular, suppose sidewalk, if this is sidewalk. So then the worst of them, which is the worst rating, that you need to take for this link. Then now your final link and final intersection has to be summed up to get the PLOS score of segment. So now if you do a weighted sum, you will get the facility PLOS score. But in addition, you need to see what is the PLOS space also for the particular facility by combining the segments. So based on this, if you see this table, based on this pedestrian LOS score and LOS by average pedestrian space. So based on these two factors, you can calculate is it B or C or whatever it is. So it is true. I think you remember something, because sometimes these are all confusing because there are very close and link and intersection then facility. Sometimes you may get confused. So now the next question is, how is segment pedestrian level of service calculated? I already described how for a segment is calculated. Right? Now tell me how it is calculated. What could be the correct answer here? I told you for a segment how it is calculated. Tell me how it is calculated. Immediately I won't go into the details. You are saying B. Okay. Okay, I got your response. Okay, I want all the responses. Then only I will try to solve it. B means you are saying link into intersection by roadway crossing difficulty factor. So roadway crossing difficulty factor means what is the problem that a particular pedestrian is facing while he is crossing the road. So if your roadway difficulty factor is high, then you are saying a PLOS score is low. So now if I go back to this, your PLOS score is low. Okay. So now the correct answer is this, not this. Just I mentioned that you need to add them up. What is the link PLOS? What is the intersection PLOS? Intersections PLOS is very straightforward, and the link, in case of link, you need to take the worst of pedestrian LOS plus the average space. Means you need to compare which is the worst. Based on that, you need to take that PLOS score, and then you need to add this additional factor of roadway crossing difficulty. So this is the right answer, not anything else. It is just a multiplication. These are not right answer. This is also not the right answer. So the C would be the right answer. So it is nothing to think, because if you add them up, you will get for a segment. Because if your biggest unit is facility, facility consists of some segments. Inside a segment, there is a link, there is an intersection. So if you add your PLS score of intersection plus link, you would have get the segment. But because there are other factors is there, so account for the other factors, you need to add the additional factor. So if you remember the Landis actual formula, how a PLOS is calculated, it is a function of built environment plus user characteristics or physical user characteristics, and then the additional beta term is constant, so which is accounts for the other factors which you are not taking into account, right? So if you want to model something, so there are at times you cannot take into account all the factors. They may not be a significant contributor of the model, but they are having some influence. But then we use this constant term for that, right? So this is also the same thing here also. So now the next question is determine the loss of the facility. It is also facility, remember, not segment, not link, but the facility. Using the ACM 2010 methodology. So your individual segment loss score and your average pedestrian space in foot square for the facility is given. Okay. So you don't need to calculate segment loss score using that complicated formula because it's already given. And also you don't need to calculate the average pedestrian space, although it is very straightforward to calculate, but here it is given. So now you need to calculate what is the loss of the facility, right? So also I have given you the table, so table is also given. So now just calculate and tell me what is the loss of this facility. You need to calculate it. I won't be doing it right away, so you need to try it. It is very straightforward. It is only a matter of calculation, nothing else. And it is not too much calculation, it is just a simple calculation. But tell me what could be the loss. Is it A, B, is it C, is it D? Tell me. I will wait for you people to answer. I will wait on you. Loss D. I don't know. I need to calculate also. I will first, everyone will answer, then I will also calculate in front of you. You are saying LOSD, okay, it is noted. I am giving time so that everyone can calculate, and then I will start. See that what could be the loss score here. Loss, what could be the loss? Space is given. This is also given, right? Tell me what could be the score. Just take the weighted average. That's all. Nothing else. So let me also calculate. So suppose segment 1, the length is given as 1.75 kilometers, right? So first maybe I will try to calculate the maybe average pedestrian space, which is given in foot square. So length is given in kilometers. So then if I need to calculate it, is it that I can calculate? I don't think I can calculate directly. Let me see. 1 second. 63 into 1.75 plus 0.96 into 24 plus 1.86 into 45 divided by 1.75 plus 0.96 plus 1.86, 37.4. Okay. So now your weighted, if I say weighted average space is what? Is your AP into LI summation by summation LI. So it will, if you calculate, this is your AP, this into this plus this into this plus this into this divided by this plus this plus this, summation of Li. So it will come out as 47.4. And then what will be your segment PLO score? So if I calculate once again, it will come out to be 3.56 into 1.75 plus 4.44 into 0.96 plus 3.98 into 1.86. So then divided by 1.75 plus 0.96 plus 1.86. Right. So it will be 3.915. That is your IP weightage. So now 3.1915 is this, and your 47 is 40 to 60. Then your level of service is level of service D. So whoever answered first, he or she has calculated it right. So it is D. It is also very straightforward, I think. I don't need to wait here also, right? Or shall I? But it will be a difficult question if you need to calculate also the individual segment wise plus scores. It is not so difficult to calculate pedestrian space if you have the values, but it is very difficult to calculate plus score. It's not difficult, but you need those formulas. If it is given, then it may be easy, but if it is not given, then it will be challenging. So I think I can go to the next question, right? Without. So now the next question is, which type of bicycle facility is affected by vehicular traffic on roads? Is it exclusive bicycle facility? Is it shared bicycle facility? Is it on-street bicycle facility? What could be the right answer? Which kind of bicycle facility is affected by vehicular traffic on roads? So suppose you have a vehicle, you have a bicycle facility. So which kind of facility or what type of facility is affected by the vehicular traffic or influenced by the vehicular traffic? Is it a shared facility? Is it an exclusive facility? Or is it an on-street facility? What could be the answer? Okay, I got one answer. I am waiting for other responses as well. Because see, this is an interactive class, so you need to interact at least in the form of message or chatting or whatever, maybe direct speaking also. Otherwise, its main purpose will not be served. Okay, so I got two responses. One is called saying that shared facility and one street facility. Right? So basically, what is an exclusive facility? Exclusive facility means it is segregated, physically segregated. So in suppose you have this road and here you have a curve and this is the bicycle lane. So it's a segregated facility. Physically it is segregated using a curve. Like it is not an continuous or it is not separated by a not marking like a white marking also. It is not. It is just a physical separation of the facility. So it is called the exclusive facility. What is the shared? In a shared means normally bicycle and pedestrians are sharing the facility, right? Although in Western countries sometimes there are many like not only pedestrians, maybe there are some kind of other vehicles also sharing, but here ideally the sharing means pedestrian as well as the bicyclists are physically sharing the facility. So here also it could be on street, it could be off street also shared facility. In case of off street it is segregated. In case of on street also, since there is a kind of marking is there, so it is not directly affected by the vehicular traffic. It is just a segregated portion. So now in case of on street, because the term is in on street, so from the term it is saying that it is affected by the vehicular traffic itself, right? So it is actually the C will be the answer. So which index is used to evaluate the capability of roadways to accommodate both motorists and cyclists? So okay, do you have any idea about other indexes? Whoever is saying BCI, how do you know that? Because if you don't know what is the other indexes, you cannot say it is BCI. So which index is used to evaluate the capability of roadways to accommodate both motorists and cyclists? So this is you can imagine the situation where suppose only the vehicles are plying on the roads, but you need to kind of you want to evaluate whether you can develop pedestrian facility. You want to provide pedestrian infrastructure on the existing facility. So then see, you cannot use the plus scores what we discussed previously, because plus scores is when it exists, like if you have an side street, if you have an cross street, then only you can calculate what is the plus score, how your level of service is based on plus scores, right? But suppose you do not have a service right now, you want to develop a service like in the planning stage, right? Then how to use it? Then what kind of index will be useful, right? So actually C is correct, it is BCI only, which is called as bicycle compatibility index. So this is called bicycle compatibility index. And then what is the entropy index and what is the PSI? PSI is the present serviceability index. So it is a context of an pavement. So if you are familiar with the pavement analysis and design in transportation engineering, so how a particular pavement, how well it is working at an existing situation. Suppose you have a paved road and now you want to evaluate that what is the serviceability condition of it. It is good, whether it is required to upgrade the road or not, that has to be decided using the present serviceability index criteria, right? So this is called PSI. And then entropy index is not directly you can use here, but if you read the chemistry, you would have known what is entropy, right? It is an entropy means the disorganization, behavior of the particles, right? So here also you can imagine this particle as the individual vehicles, and then you can calculate the entropy. But directly in case of this, we are not using this entropy concept. So the answer would be this. So now tell me, as now you know that we use bicycle compatibility index to judge whether it is capable to carry both motorcyclists and pedestrians. Now you tell me what is the like, if your BCI is good or BCI is high, BCI value is high. So is it going to give you better compatibility levels, or and consequently better loss score or bicycle level of service score, or it is the opposite? So is it that the higher BCI leads to good compatibility levels and good loss score, or is it the opposite of that? So what do you think is the right answer? So like you know that level of service. So if you remember, let me go to the previous, like here also you see. So you're like this. If you consider this, if your pedestrian level of services score is low, then it is giving you a better level of service, right? Means the A to B to E A to F, right? It is C C C D E F. Ultimately, it is kind of in the this direction, downward direction, right? Good to worse. So now here what I am saying, that if your loss score is high, is it going to give you level of service S or level of service A in terms of A to F? So here what is happened? Here is level of service score is high, means it's bad. Now there the question is, if your value is high, then it is lead to better compatibility levels and better behavior. So is it true or is it false? That's what is the question is. I think you would have understand the question correctly. So now tell me what is the answer. What is the answer of BCI, bicycle compatibility index? Okay, I got one answer. He's saying false. I will wait for. Okay. So actually, you are correct. It is not true, because if you have a higher BCI range, that means your level of service is F. F means excuse me. So then it is extremely low or it is bad. So it is very straightforward. You don't need to. Now the question is, a 4-lane arterial road, 2 lane in each direction, serve as a commuting bicycle corridor. So you have a bicycle corridor which consists of a 4-lane arterial. Okay. The curb lane width is measured from the center of the lane line to the gutter pan seam, and it is 3.5 meters. So your curb lane width is given. So now your ADT on this particular segment is 20,000 vehicles per day. So what do you mean by particular segment? Particular segment means one way, not two way. So where it is saying that your curb lane is this, so in this segment it is 20,000 vehicles per day. In this segment, not in a particular lane. Right? So then the posted speed limit is given as 65, and your 85th percentile speed is saying not available. Right. So then there is no on-street parking, and the development along the roadside primarily consists of residences. So now consider no adjustment factors. AF equal to 0, assume K. What is K? K is your peak hour factor, and your D is directional split factor. So you should calculate the BCI and BLOS flow. So now you calculate and you tell. I will wait. So now you calculate and you tell what could be the answer. Tell me. I have given you the formula also, right? So it is not a problem for you to calculate. Bicycle compatibility index formula I have given you. You would have known the terms, what is BL, what is BLW, what is CLW, what is CLB, C stands for curb lanes, what is O is OLB's other lanes, then what is your SPD, it's speed, then what is your PKG, then what is your area, what is your F, right? So I think you can calculate. I will wait for your calculation. And once you calculate the BCI and give me the value, I can go to the previous slide. There it is already given the corresponding level of service based on BCI or bicycle level of service, I should say. So tell me what could be the answer. Just to calculate all the everything is given, actually it is very straightforward. Everything is given, so you calculate it. So what is your BL, BLW 3.247? So according to you, if it is 3.4, just means if you calculate your BCI in a proper manner, you will get the exact level of service. That is not a problem, because ultimately I will go to the previous slide, I will see the corresponding BLOS code. Just you need to make sure that your BCI calculation is okay, because you may have some problem in calculating your volumes, because here it is given for a particular segment, not the total road, not the lane wise, and then your 85th percentile speed also is not given. So then if you remember, if it is 85th percentile speed is not available, then how to calculate? 4.46. It is 4.46. PHP is 1100. I don't know, I need to calculate it. Maybe I will calculate it. I will wait, then I will calculate. But for a particular direction, the volume has to be calculated like how it is calculated. 20,000 vehicles per day into 0.55 is one directional into 0.10. This is the peak hour volume. If I have the peak hour volume, then for curve lane volume, what I need to divide it by 2 only, because there are 4 lanes. Then it will be come out to be what? Let me see. 20,000 into 0.10 to 0.55, then 1100 by 2. So your CLV will be 550, your OLV would be then 550 only, because it is just divided by 2. So then what you need, your BL is 0, your BLW is 0. So then your CLW is width is how much? It is 3.5. Okay, but we did not consider anything because it is not given. So suppose if we have some side distance, that needs to be calculated also, right? But here it is not given, so we won't calculate anything, right? We will use directly 3.5. And then what will be your CLV? CLV is 550. So what will be your OLV? 550. And what will be your SPD? What is your SPD then? What is your SPD? Tell me. SPD is 0. Oh, why SPD is 0? Why it is 0? SPD is what? 85th percentile speed. Why it is 0? How your SPD can be 0? So what is, it is not available means it is not given. It is not, so you don't think it is a mathematical problem, it's a field problem. So if you go to the field and you do not have any radar gun to like take the speeds of the vehicles. So what you take that, okay, this is the posted speed limit, what is there in the signs, right? So you take it as 65 because it is given as 65, but you don't know the exact 85th percentile of speed. But already you would have known that how to calculate the 85th percentile speed, since your posted speed limit is 65. So if you remember, it will be 65 plus 15. It's an empirical formula that is given. So what do you mean by 80th percentile speed? So that means only 15% of the vehicles are traveling more than that particular speed. So suppose your 85th percentile speed is 80, then only 15% of the vehicles, suppose you have 100 vehicles are running along a particular road, only 15 vehicles will be travel faster than 80. Rest of the vehicles won't travel faster than 80. They will be below it. So it is not 0. It cannot be 0, right? Even if you have 2 vehicles, then also you have an 85th percentile speed. Okay. So it cannot be 0. So just think logically. It is not given, that's why it is 0. It is not like that, right? So I hope I am able to clarify that why it is not 0. Is it or not? So sometimes what happens, your answer may be correct. Maybe because it's a range, it may fall in the same range. But maybe if I change the values, your answer may be wrong. So you need to know how to calculate it. So now tell me, what is PKG? PKG is based on the parking and the other roadside activities. So it is given as no on-street parking and no development. So it is 0. So then what is your area? Then what is your area? Area would be 1. So then your AF factors are already given, that there are no adjustment factors. It has said that there are no adjustment factors. So that's why it is 0. It is also 0. So this is there, 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 this is not there, this is not there, this is not there. So these are the 0th elements. So now if you calculate, it will come out to be 3 point, I think close to 3.7 or 3.8. Exactly I don't know, but it will close to the 3.8 or 3.7 and 3.8. So suppose this is your BCI. Okay, I did not calculate it right. I need to check. No, it will come out to be 4.74. 4.74. Not other way around. It will come out to be 4.74. So this is, so your, this is E, because this 4 point, this is 4.74. Oh, 4.74, it should be E, right? This is E only. I thought it is D. It is E. So it is the correct answer. So I think it is clear. I hope it is clear. So this is from my side for today's this interactive session. Now if you have anything to ask based on the course what have been taught last week, you can feel free to ask. Or if you do not have anything, then we will close the session, right? So tell me. Also you can numerical which is given, okay, which has been solved in the class, that's what you were saying. Okay, then let me see what is the numerical. Northbound southbound means are you saying about that hindrance problem? Hindrance problem? Achha, tell me your doubt and tell me the number or something, the page from the problem, because I need to also see what that you are talking about. I know it is a hindrance problem that you are talking about, most probably. It is the hindrance problem. Okay. Numerical problem 1 or numerical problem 1 or 2? You had doubt in 1 or 2? First one. Got confused in 3-lane 2-way bicycle traffic. Okay. Let me just stop sharing and maybe I will share. Okay, if I have it. Okay. Okay, so the question was that you have a 2.4 meter north-south uninterrupted flow lane, right? So suppose here I can also like 2.4 meter, right? So let me just 1 second, window, and then can I share it? 1 second, I will share this one only. Okay, I am trying to see what is the problem. Okay, so you see the question I am reading is, it is a 2.4 meter, and then it is saying that peak hour factor is 0.60, 2 effective lanes, peak hour factor is 90 bicycles per hour, directional speed is this one. So they have calculated your VB. So did you understand how to calculate the your peak hour volume? I think that is fine. Just respond. Sir, if it is was 3 lanes, so will the formula changes? Formula, what formula changes? Tell me. Formula won't change, right? If it is at 3 lanes, so let it be 3 lanes. I will use the another criteria. So suppose you have two-way 3 lanes, that is, suppose you have 3 lanes are available and it is a two-way movement is possible. So it is no problem. What is the problem here? Suppose you have a 2 lane, so you can and if it is a two-way 2 lane, suppose, so then you can, like, it is not like that one lane only be used for this way, another lane is used for this way. It may not be so. We can use it whenever we overtake, we can use the second lane also. So suppose you have a 3 lane, so how the formula will change? Because the formula is nothing but to calculate first the volume at peak hour. That won't change because it's an total volume of the 3 lanes or 2 lanes, whatever is given, right? Because that will be given to you. Then the next step is to calculate the number of vehicles. So suppose if you have a 2 lane versus if you have a 3 lane, so your number of vehicles overtaken by you and coming from the same direction and coming from the different direction, those values will change, right? Those values will increase or decrease or whatever it is. So how your formula will change? Your formula will not be changed, but your criteria will change, because if you have now 3 lane, so your values will be more because your number of vehicles are more, because your F is depending on the volumes or flow rates. So now if you have more lanes, you have more flow. So now your F is higher. So if your F is higher, so then what happens? Then your criteria won't match. So that's why if you see, there are two tables. One is frequency of events for two-way 2 lane, another is the frequency of events for two-way 3 lane paths. Right? So your formula won't changes. It will remain as the same. And you can consider it is like that. What will be then FP and FM values? So what is your FP? One second. What is your FP? FP is 2 into V0. No, FP is 0.188 into Vs, right? So what is your Vs? What is your Vs? Vs is northbound, total 70% is northbound. So that 70% traffic is 105 vehicles. So your Vs is 105. So then you multiply it with 0.188. So you will get your FP at northbound direction. And along southbound direction, it will be 45 into 0.888. Just tell me why you are not able to understand, because suppose your FP is what? 0.188 into your V. V is volume at each direction. So your 70 by 30 split is there. So you have this northbound split. So you now calculate what is the number of vehicles. Suppose number of vehicles is 150 and 50. This is north and this is south. So now you use your 0.888 into 150 to calculate your FP at northbound, along northbound, and along southbound you use your 50 into 0.888. Similarly, you calculate your FM, and then for each direction just add add FP plus your that point what 0.5 into that thing. You add FM, then you calculate your total F. Then based on the separate table, there are two tables. One is 2 lanes, another is 3 lanes. Because in case of bicycle, there are maximum 3 lanes facility that is available in Western countries. So that's why it is restricted to 3 lanes only. Now tell me how it is changes, because if it is 3 lanes, so there are, you can go from one direction, you can come in the another lane, and this lane can be used for both vehicles. Whenever you want to overtake and all, you can use it. So you can think that it can be used, like 2 lanes for be used, and also the middle lane can be used by this way movement also, because there are two way movements. Now means tell me what is the exact doubt, because it can be calculated numerically. Because if you have some doubts, tell me, because I am also not able to understand why you have doubts. So suppose you have a one-way movement, you have 2 lanes, you have 3 lanes, your capacity will be higher, your flow will be higher. So now if you have 3 lanes, so one lane will be used for this movement predominantly, one lane will be used for this way movement predominantly, and this lane will be used by some portion of this, some portion of this, but depending on the volume, if you have a 50-50 split, then it may be used by this. Otherwise, majority of the northbound vehicles will use this middle lane. It is like that. But this won't change the criteria, this will change the F value only. Because ultimately, if you are traveling along the northbound, so you have more traffic in the northbound. then also you will face the hindrance from the southbound as well as the northbound, right? So we are calculating both the things. 3 lanes, 2-way, F value will change. F value is depending on what? F value is depending on the volumes. So it won't change. If your split is given, suppose you have a road, 3-lane road, 100 vehicles are plying, considering it's a 2-way, and your split is 50-50. So 50 vehicles will come this way, 50 vehicles will come this way. So depending on the split, F value will change. But if you have 2 lanes, then already your capacity is less. So numerically it may not change the value, but if you think if you have 3 lanes, then more number of vehicles will ply and more number of opposing vehicles also come. Vehicles mean bicycles. So your F value won't change. So is that you are asking that why there are 2 tables are given for 3 lanes 2-way and 2 lane 2-way? Is that what you are concerned about? Okay, that is what I am saying. Your nothing is changing, but your F value is depending on what? Suppose ultimately if you see what is your formula, F value is proportional to your V. V means volume at this direction as well as this direction. Am I right or not? I think I am right. So if it is so suppose now you have 2 lanes. So your total volume will be suppose 100. Suppose now you have 3 lanes. So there is a good chance that it will be more than 100, right? So if it is more than 100, then your F value will increase. Are you getting the point? Just think. Suppose if you have a 2-lane road and you have 100 vehicles, and if you have a 3-lane road, 100 vehicles, will the level of service or level of comfort will be same or not? Which will be more? In 3-lane roads, if you have 100 vehicles, then that level of comfort will be, or hindrance will be less, or comfort will be more, right? Isn't it? Suppose you have constant, more comfortable in 3-lane. Now you think that your 3-lane level of service criteria is level of service criteria A. Suppose, think it that way. Now, do you think that your level of service criteria for that 2-lane it will be A? It should be less than A, means it should be worse than A, right? It should be B or C or something, isn't it? But ultimately level of service, yes. So if it is so how your tables will be same, how your values and level of service A and those values are same? It should be different. It should be more for 3-lane and less for 2-lane, isn't it? Is it not logical? No, just tell me, do you get my point? Maybe I am not able to express this properly, but if you get it, then I think then it is good. Or still got it, na? So because your length increases, so your number of vehicle increases, your F value increases, so you now need a different set of criteria because your comfort level changes. Okay. If any other doubts, you can ask. No issues. Okay. Any other doubts from other person as well? If you have anything to ask. Devesh. Then shall we close? If you say we close, then we will close it. We will meet in the next week for the interactive session, week 8. I am asking you, shall I close or shall we close? Okay, okay then I am closing the session. Bye.